Alright guys, today's goal, 5.3. The learner will understand how to graph general rational functions. So we learned the basic one yesterday. Now, here are more generals. Let p of x and q of x be polynomials with no common factors other than positive or negative 1. The graph of the following rational functions has the characteristics listed below. 1. The x-intercepts of the graph are the real zeros of p of x. The graph of f has a vertical asymptote at each real zero of q of x. So there's more than one possible vertical asymptote. The graph of f has the most one horizontal asymptote, which is determined by the degrees of m and n of p of x and q of x. Okay? So, if m is less than n, so if the bottom is bigger than the top, it's at y equals 0. If the degree of the top matches the degree of the bottom, you do the lead coefficient divided by the lead coefficient. And if the degree on the top is bigger than the bottom, there's no horizontal. Okay? So, let's take a look. Find the horizontal and vertical asymptotes. Okay, so the vertical, set the denominator equal to 0, solve. Can I square a negative number? No, so there are no verticals. And see how the top is 0 and the bottom is 2, so the degree is higher in the bottom. So the horizontal is y equals 0. There are no vertical. Okay, so for number 2, the vertical, set denominator equal to 0, solve it. So you get x equals 1, x equals negative 1. The horizontal for that, well, the degree are the same on the top and bottom, so you say y equals 3 divided by 1, so it's y equals 3. Okay? These are very important pieces that you will have to graph. Okay? So let's look at the third one. And this was the horizontal. Okay? So the vertical, there are none, because you can't solve that. The horizontal, you get y equals 1 over 1, which is y equals 1. The vertical, x minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4 is the vertical. The horizontal degree is bigger on the top than it is on the bottom, so it's none. Okay. These are the pieces we're really going to have to graph, guys. You must graph these. Okay. So let's try something. So graph the function. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm going to find the vertical. And the horizontal. Alright, the vertical, there are none because x squared plus 1 equals 0. But you subtract and you get the negative. Can't take the square root of negative. The horizontal, 1 over 1. So I know I have a horizontal right here. So find the x or y intercept, so just plug 0 in. you get -5. And if you look at the graph on the calculator, after getting me a few points, looks like this. Okay? So let's try another one. So domain and range of this one. Domain. Well, there were no vertical asymptotes, so it's -infinity to +infinity. The range, well, there was a horizontal of y equals 1, so that means that's the one number it doesn't equal. Okay? Okay. The vertical. So step 1 is to draw the asymptotes. Step 2, if possible, you plot points to the left and right of the vertical. And then step 3, look at the calculator to double check. X minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4. So at x equals 4, I can draw the vertical. The horizontal, there are none. So take a look at it in your calculator here. Remember to put in your calculator parentheses around the top and bottom, okay? So I had to adjust something to be able to see both the top and the bottom. So change your window, play with it. And then, because what you would get is way up here. Okay? So they're different shapes. They're not just the standard ones like what you saw in the others there. So let's take a look at one more. Oh, hold on though. Domain and range. The horizontal, there were none because the degree was higher on the top. But domain, well, when there's a vertical, it's -infinity to that, union 4 to infinity. The range, was there any horizontal? No, so it's just -infinity to +infinity. Okay? Alright, let's make sure we take a look at one more slide here. So, let's see, let's graph this. The vertical, remember we solved this already, so x squared minus 1 equals 0. So x squared equals 1, so you square root, so x equals +1 or x equals -1. The horizontal, y equals 3 over 1, so 3. Okay? So, if we go to graph this, see, y equals 3. Is the horizontal, the two verticals, -1, +1. So go ahead and put that into your calculator. Those are the important things that we had to have there. And you get this graph. Okay? So domain and range. Domain, well, x can equal +1 or -1. So you go -infinity to -1, union -1 to +1, union 1 to infinity. Because there's 2 that it couldn't equal in there. The range, what's the range value? It couldn't equal 3. So you go -infinity to 3, 3 to infinity. Okay? Alright guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Be ready.